In the better late than never category, here we are on a Monday morning at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where race 19 of the 36th race IHOP Cup Series season is getting ready to take place. We were supposed to go green a little after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Sunday afternoon. However, just as the drivers are getting ready to get buckled into their cars, a storm cell emerged over the racetrack, telling the drivers to get back out. An hour and a half later, we attempted to start the race again, only for NASCAR to look at the sky because a bigger cell was pouring in, and the time it would take for them to drive the track and get the race in its advertised conclusion done on Sunday, NASCAR decided to pull the plug and call it. Now we are going to be racing on a Monday morning, absolutely gorgeous conditions for a race. However, it's been raining pretty hard the past few days. In fact, the only thing we saw was qualifying on Saturday with only maybe a few cars able to get in. So they set the positions 18 on back on practice speeds. So now this means Blake Dillon will be. So the qualifying was set on practice speeds due to half the field getting qualifying time in Saturday morning. So, but then NASCAR decided to just can it and have qualifying set on practice speeds. So this means Blake Dillon will get his first career pole at the Brickyard. And the new Smithfield colors. Smithfield is signed on as the new sponsor for the 10, the new primary sponsor in the future. And KFC Cup Series also got a new sponsor in Peak Coolant and Antifreeze. While we're getting ready to start today's race here at the Brickyard, let's take a look at your starting lineup. In row 1, we have the Smithfield Ford and the Discount Tire Ford. In row 2, we have the Hertz Chevrolet and the Peak Coolant Ford. Starting this afternoon, today's race from row number 3, we have the Pennzoil Ford and the Freaky Fast Ford. Starting from row 4, we have the Hausaw Nation Ford and the Credit One Bank Chevrolet. Rounding out the top 10 starting spots, we have the FedEx Toyota and the Toyota Camry by Toyota.com Toyota. Starting this afternoon from row number 6, we have the 78 car and the Aris Internet Modems Toyota. While we look through the rest of the field, let's see if we can mic up 24 of Hunter Miller. Hey, Hunter, this is Wally Dawn back up in the TNT booth today. You got us? Tune to channel 3, bud. Wally in the booth's calling you. Oh, what? Oh, hang on. Hey, Wally. What's up? Well, you really haven't had a lot of opportunity to feel out your car this weekend due to all the showers we've had in the Indy area. So this in Indianapolis area the past few days. In fact, we got a little bit of qualifying done on Saturday. So how do you feel about your car going into this morning's race? Pretty good. I mean, from what I saw, it seems like it's going to be a lot of might come down to track position today. Obviously, our Hendrick Chevrolet seemed pretty fast in the run on Friday, or in the brief session we got. So, I mean, we are going to have a competition yellow, if need be, at lap 3 will be our competition caution, part of the 11 laps this afternoon. So hopefully we can put our Hertz Reynolds Chevrolet on a little bit of a joyride and bring it to victory lane and hopefully kiss the bricks when this one's all over. Thank you. Have a good one, man. He is one of 8 onboard cameras this afternoon. As you see them on the screen, presented in DLP HD, the other onboard Zarks Moon in the 22 car. She will roll off this afternoon in 5th. WB Network will roll off in 11th with the auto owners on board. Jacob Tube will be rolling off 17th today. One of his worst starts of the year. The Mountain Dew on board. Joshua Leanbatch will start 16th in the Snickers on board. Blake Dillon will be starting first. He needs a win to get into the playoffs. He's pretty confident of his hot rod today. He will be in the Smithfield on board. And Robert Smith, last year's Richmond winner, will be in the Discount on board. 2 straight weeks of poor weather, 2 straight weeks of Monday races. How about the crowd that hung in today here at the Brickyard? Oh yeah, great crowd on hand this afternoon. And I promise you're going to get a good show once this race kicks off. Pace car is off. One of the most historic and exciting races of the year. Dylan Murway has won 2 of the 3 Grand Slam races so far. Caleb Hoffman won the 3rd at the Brighton Road Course. Who will win race number 4 of the Grand Slam? We're underway here at the Brickyard. A bit of an kind of a tough start by the 24 right here. And the 10, 24 really didn't get a good jump at all off 2, and Blake Dillon is able to pull the 2 car behind as they're single file down the back stretch. All right, inside, clear, 2 wide. So far, so good. A little bit of 2 wide, single file-ish racing at the back. Here. Looking through the rest of the field. Remember, there is a competition caution at lap number 3. Blake Dillon leads the first lap. There is a comp yellow at lap number 3 today. Everybody seems to squeeze in single file. They actually redid the surface of this track last year, from what I heard, what I've seen. So you're really seeing a lot of guys just try to stay low on the racetrack. Not really doing anything astronomically stupid. I mean, we were supposed to go green at about 2:30 Eastern yesterday. And everyone's just testing the pavement, testing to see where the grooves are, where the line is. You see Hunter Azzoni taking a spot from his teammate for 5th. Caleb Hoffman got a pretty solid bump draft here. You are going to occasionally see these bump drafts, especially the further down the bottom, the tighter we go. So we're on the 3rd lap. And the rule is with comp yellows, if a caution comes out, unlike in the Monster Energy Cup Series where the comp yellow may be changed due to rain or tire concerns, we very well could see if a caution actual yellow comes out in the event of a comp yellow, NASCAR will deem that as the competition yellow as Blake Dillon drops back, loses a few spots as Robert Smith comes off of 4. He will take the 3rd lap. The competition yellow in first. The rule is once all 34 cars have crossed the finish line, which they have now. Yellow is out. NASCAR will freeze the field, and this means we will be under yellow for the first time today due to some heavy rains. Also, another thing, too, to note is just like in real life NASCAR Monster Energy competition, you cannot do anything to these cars. You can come in for change tires on competition yellows. That they're going to come in, check pressures, etc. But here, you can do that. You can do what you need to do, get it done, and be back out racing. And that didn't really take very long to begin with, as Blake Dillon loses 3 spots. Luckily, he's surrounded by Stewart-Haas teammates. But the rule is everyone has to come down pit road for comp yellows. Nobody can stay out. As we head into one of the more narrow pit roads here we got a crash coming out. One car gets turned. Now we got a jam up. It was WB Network in the 78. Derek that had the damage. Looks like he may have gotten the worst of that. Derek Lewis in the 42 is also involved. He's sitting against his pit stall, luckily. And Zach Speed in the 20. And several others start bunching up. This is exactly what we were talking about yesterday in Countdown, the green before the rains came. How tight and narrow this pit road is. With Kansas, you can go to the grass if something were to happen. But here at Indy and kind of next week at Richmond and Portland in a couple weeks, there's really not a lot of room to hide if you get those cars clustered up like that, especially at Indy, because you have no room to go. So a pretty big crash is taking place. But so far, Zach Speed is in the 20. He was coming out of his stall. Derek Lewis was trying to get in it. WB Network was also getting out of his stall behind the 42. And wow, look at that. 42 crew members. A couple of them had some heads-up moments. One of them dove. And then, obviously, the damage on the 78. So WB Network, 3 laps in, cracks the radiator. Bill? WB Network sent the rail, said, guys, I'm sorry. The 78 slowed up right in front of me. Sorry, the 42 slowed up. The 20 hit just spun the tires getting out of the pits. Again, that's kind of the problem when you get some of the moisture on pit road. One car tries to get going in the wet. Their pit road may not have been completely dry, and that leads to some pretty big accidents. An update on the 242 crewmen. Supposedly there were tire changers involved. They are okay. The left tire changer for the 42 is currently in the infield care center with a possible wrist injury. Hopefully he can return to action. So, restart. Lap number 4. Pace car is back down. Now we're going to see how crazy these Indy restarts can and are notorious for getting. The cars that were caught in that issued Sports Center Cup Series had to stop because he was in the middle of that. He didn't want to risk it, so he gave the 20 room to back up. So now they're all in 33rd, first, 32nd, and 33rd, respectively. Derek Lewis, and some damage on the left front. Zach Speed, damage on the right rear. And so it begins. Green flag back into the air. Hunter Miller seemed to have a lot of issues getting going on the start. So on the start of this arts and restarts today so far. I know it's only early in the race, but could be something that could bite him later. How about Dylan Murray making a 3-wide move for second? Going past a couple cars. Oh, we got a car spinning in turn 2. Or 3, sorry. That is Jonathan Morrison spinning. And also caught up is the 48. Of Nate Sherman. This is a huge blow for him in the playoffs. Both cars into the wall. Caution is out. You all right? Yeah. That one hurt. Just out of breath. Oh my goodness, that was a hit. Here you see the 9 of Jacob Tube. Doesn't seem like he has much damage to the car at first, till you get to see the right side coming across our screen. He got hit pretty good. I mean, it isn't anything too major, but that was a pretty good shot. Here you see Alvin Alonso, 17. He hit the dirt behind the 9 as the 3 came down. And to hook the 48, bring him around. We have another car that's sitting here smoking. Is that? Oh, Xavier Shadrushka is sitting in the short chute, steaming right now. There's a lot of grass. The first time we were going to see a car on the outside of the racetrack today, I was really looking at how crazy some of the things guys were getting on the restart, but you knew sooner or later they couldn't have held on for that much longer. And unfortunately, this definitely hurts Nate Sherman's chances. So, Nate Sherman with the window net down. Hearing that he has a sponsor deal with Ally Financial next year. Hopefully the sponsor deal may turn things around. Preferably before, hopefully something will turn around for Mr. Sherman. There's quite a bit of grass And I'm wondering how the 21 got in there, because I saw a huge cloud of dirt get kicked up. And we saw all right, but yikes. So Arvin Alonso is on pit road. While he's doing that, getting a nose job. I'm amazed he was still able to run during that. And the damage on the 9 isn't that extensive. Sure, he got dinged a little bit by the 3, but also Jacob Tube's down on pit road in the 9. He was actually in contention for a win a couple weeks ago Monday in Kansas last week, but getting caught in a late crash with Derek Lewis, the crash that sent the race to overtime, led to one of the wildest finishes in recent memory, and probably the best finish this year for some fans. Unfortunately, that led to poor finish for the 9, and it goes bad to worse. Luckily, Jacob Tube has second most wins this year. He won the Boulder race and won Pikes Peak Roval. Dylan Murway is currently ahead with 3. He won, and that are all the restrictor plate tracks that we ran this year. He won at Daytona. Jacob Tube won Talladega and Pikes Peak, so that's his 2. So while we're here, we can go ahead and put in advertisement for Richmond next weekend. Friday at 3 will be IHOP practice from Richmond, and then Friday night at 6:30 will be IHOP practice 2, and then Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. By the way, the Friday practices will be on TNT. Then Saturday morning at 8 a.m. will be IHOP final practice from Richmond. So 10 a.m. Eastern. And then at 1:30 p.m. Eastern will be IHOP qualifying from Richmond. And then beginning at 7 Eastern on NBC will be IHOP Cup Series pre-race show, hour-long special, and then at 8 Eastern will be live flag-to-flag coverage of the Toyota Owners 400 from Richmond Raceway on NBC. Good thing, we have a lot of good tracks coming up. We got 2 road courses in 3 weeks after Richmond. We got the fast speeds of Michigan. We got Portland and Sebring. We got even Bristol. Coming up in a couple weeks. And then Darlington to close out. And then we got a race at California to end the regular season. Primetime races are always fun to watch. That one begins at 8:15 Eastern on NBC. So we got a lot of races on NBC with only 3 of them. Portland, Michigan, and Bristol being on TNT. A lot of races on NBC this year. We'll be back here in a few moments. You're watching the Brickyard 400 on NBC. Bit of a halting start. We had a competition yellow and a crash on lap number 4.
Celebrating the 40th season of NFL Monday Night Football, ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Season 40, the final chapter.
Sunday night, fierce rivals collide.
Touchdown Pittsburgh! Huge play in the ballgame.
It's a playoff rematch between the Super Bowl champs and the Chargers. It's a Sunday night showdown in Steeltown. Chargers, Steelers. Sunday night is football night, only on NBC.
Gotta love buffering, right?
Texans, Broncos at 8:15 Monday on ESPN.
Today's Brickyard 400 on TNT is brought to you by Sunday Night Football. It returns August 1st with the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. Denver Broncos and Atlanta Falcons, 8:15 Eastern on NBC. Made by Chevrolet, an American Revolution. By the way, big shout out to the guys at Sunday Night Football for letting us use their music. Over at NBC. Actually, a couple weeks from now, I can listen to Al Michaels and Chris Paul for this ball game. In fact, I don't have nothing else to say. What team are you really excited for, guys? I don't know. I'm looking at the Broncos here with that old guy named Fangio. Yeah, he's pretty good. We got our own little Sunday Night Football theme you could probably put to is these guys are coming to the restart here at Indy. Ready? Green, 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 green. This time, better start for the 24. He's pushing the 2 into 1. Can Robert Smith clear the 4? He's got it. New leader at Indy. Typically, you really see these guys when they get on these big tracks like Indy, Pocono, some of the road courses that have a lot of long straightaways before, sharp turns like Portland in a couple weeks. You may occasionally see certain guys save some fuel by snaking the track. I mean, they go from the top, they kind of cut it to the inside, and then back to the top. There's times it works, and there's times where it doesn't. And we got guys going 3 wide towards the back. Look at this. Don't tell me the guys back here don't want to win this race, because look at this. KFC Cup Series up for 4th, trying to duck low, 3 wide. Behind for 5th. Blake Dillon in the 10. Menards Cup Series in the 12. Hunter Izzoni in the 41. And now you're really starting to see some guys start getting a little more antsy, a little more aggressive with running up top. A lot more movement, a lot more shifting. But so far, it's going to take a lot to catch Robert Smith as he is pulling down that backstretch. Look at this cluster here. Brendan Little in the 16. He was part of a crash, final lap crash in overtime last week on the white flag lap that essentially ended the race. And gave the win to that dude in the 1, and he's trying to push him along. So far, really, kind of looking at the weather, you're just starting to see the sun start to peek out. Last time we saw it was back on Wednesday. Decent amount of sun blanketing the whole racetrack and a little bit of clouds. But so far, so good. It's a lot of clean race. You're start to see the track starting to get a bit more slick, a lot less grippy. You might see some guys start to move up a little bit. We got a little bit of quite a bit of mess back here in the middle of this group. Matthew Powell slid right into the 31, coming off into 3, and almost crashed him. Things got a little hairy there. Let's look at the replay. See, the A3 was he trying driving deeper, and that you can drive in deep all you want, but the problem is you can't go in too deep because you see the grass. Remember, there's a lot of rain. We had a wreck earlier in the race where a couple of cars got torn up because of the grass. They were trying to miss something. So far, everything seems to be in semi-working order. Robert Smith starting to gap the field here with 6 laps to go in the Brickyard. And right now, if I'm anybody like the 4, 24, 14, or 10, start begging, praying to your Lord for a caution or some kind of fuel mileage drama. And speaking of fuel, let's do some news on Robert Smith. Dave? This came right between driver Robert Smith and crew chief Paul Wolf discussing fuel. Let's listen in. How far do you think we could go barring cautions? Okay, if we get at least one caution, we're good. But if we get two, we may hit 2 cautions in the final few laps. We might need to come in for fuel. We got one car down the apron here, and the short shooting 3, that is Derek Lewis. And no pressure. It's out. No pressure. No battery. Nothing. The car just went dead. He is out of the way, so the question is, do we stay green or do we go to a we go to a caution? Caution is out. I don't want to say this changes everything, but oh my goodness, we could get ourselves a nice little action-packed restart. And oh, by the way, Xavier Sandreska, Aaron Alonso, and WB Network for return to the track. Multiple laps down. I have a feeling Derek Lewis, his day is done. Yeah, it stopped. It will not turn over. And so it begins. Let's listen to possible fuel concerns from other guys like Hunter Miller in the 24. Chad, how good are we on fuel? Oh, we're good, man. So you can, with this caution, I think I just threw my notes out of the window. So if we get a few more, or at least one more, we're good. One more might be pushing it. 2 more, we're going to have to come in. We don't know how many yellows we might get at the end of this race, because let's face it, it's the Brickyard. You're fighting for, it's one of the biggest stock car races of the season that these guys have. Heck, it's probably one of the bigger races in the world. So you're going to see a lot of desperation. So desperation may turn into a couple cautions for some of the guys towards the middle. A lot of concern among the first 3 guys, except for Hunter Miller. If we get one more caution, which, knowing the series and how aggressive these guys get, never only assume you're going to get 1 caution, because you may get 2 or 3 or maybe more than that. So we have 3 laps to go here in scheduled distance this afternoon at the Brickyard. We are in scheduled distance as these cars come around. The thing is, with scheduled distance, if we make it to, these drivers are going to have to do everything they can to make it through unscathed without some kind of drama. Ready? Rolling, Grigger, and Hunter Rizzoni got an amazing start. Robert Smith gets turned in front of the pack. Crashing. Hold the brakes here. Hold the brakes, bud. Hold the brake. Hold it. How many does he collect? Oh, Paula Moon is in it. And gathers up his teammate. Zox Moon in the 22. Grayson Alcevdo in the 1. Oh, we got a couple more. More behind. All right, spin. Low. Big damage to the 88. So, about those cautions that we keep getting, do you think we're going to have any more? Judging by that kind of a move, we're going to have some more. Look at that. Big fire on the 88. All right, stop and get. Stop and get on the apron, please. Stop and get out. On the 88 of Apollo Moons, the 2 came across the track. The 88's on fire. Robert Smith in the 2. Definitely had a hard shot. I'm amazed he didn't take out more cars. That we did. Luckily, a lot of these guys started getting mowed down. In fact, due to all the debris that is sitting on this track, NASCAR decided to stop the cars on the backstretch with Dylan Murray in the lead. And while we're here, I want to give a shout out to that green car that's parked right behind the 31. Jacob Tube. He has had probably the biggest up and down race we've seen. He had got some solid damage in an early crash on that 4. Got the right front bang. Normally the car would be killed at that point. But he's held on. He's soldiered through. He's currently sitting in 13th as of right now. As the rest of the field comes around to stop. Apollo. Now, Robert Smith. Now, if you're looking at stuff like this, I mean, it's the Brickyard. You're going to see a lot of desperation moves. It's like the Daytona, not as big as the Daytona 500, but every driver wants to win a race, no matter what. So when it comes down to it, the trend that you'll normally see is guys are going to block. They're going to do everything they can to protect their position. And Hunter Miller isn't the guy that'll go out and wreck somebody. Right here. He'll be aggressive. He'll force a hole. Robert Smith, his job is to defend on the restart. Unfortunately, him defending cost him big. Ooh, those were some nasty hits. I mean, I'm glad he's all right, but those were a couple of violent shots, and I'm amazed that we only had 4 cars, well, 5 if you count the 24, sustain major damage. Or any form of damage, at least. And then the 2 came back. Cars were trying to check up. They didn't have anywhere to go. Luckily, they all found an escape route. The 88 came back. Jacked him up pretty good. And Apollo Moon still kept going. He came to rest in the apron part for the road course that they were on the Indycar guys on. Then the 22 comes up here. She can't stop. Big hit. Grayson Alcevdo, last week's winner, he can't stop as well, so he piles in. So, 4 torn up cars in a grinding crash on a late restart. So this means we're going to go to red flag, and again, we're going to, if you missed this race, we're Monday racing at the Brickyard. We're originally supposed to green at about 2:30 Eastern Sunday afternoon, but several showers, and the fact that Drivers came out at around 4, expecting the race to go green, before a bigger shower opened up. NASCAR decided there was no time to get the race done on its scheduled date, so they moved it to Monday. And it's been kind of okay. Only this is our fourth caution and first red flag of the race, compared to other Brickyard 400s where we had 2 red flags in one, or in a couple at least. So this one was okay. We had a competition caution on lap 3, and then a lap later, a crash involving Jonathan Morrison getting loose under teammate over Zoic's moon, spins, crashes the 9 that 17 gets in it. Jacob Tube has made a nice recovery. Alvin Alonso has stayed in the garage for a good chunk of the race. Also, before that restart, there was a multi-car wreck on pit road involving the 78 WB Network, who is many laps down, currently 8. And 27th. So we have 23 cars on the lead lap as of right now. We have 23 cars on running. And a lot of decent-ish performances so far. Blake Dillon holding his own. Menards Cup Series, needing a nice run to get himself in the conversation to possibly get in on points come California, but we know he wants a win. The window is shrinking as we get closer to the playoffs. Remember that. Also, tickets to next few races, obviously a lot of them are going to be on NBC. Richmond on Saturday. Portland also on Saturday at 4 Eastern. And then Michigan on Sunday. On a Sunday this year at 1 Eastern on TNT. And obviously Sebring after that on NBC, 12 Eastern. Then the Friday Night Classic Under the Lights at Bristol, 8:30 Eastern. And then a race out at Darlington, scheduled for 1:30 Eastern this year. Southern 500. And then a race out at California, Saturday night to end the regular season. And then for the first time in IHOP Cup Series history, these cars will take their talents north to Canada. The track circuit Gilles Villeneuve at 1 Eastern on NBC. And then the playoffs continue with a Saturday night short track battle at Brighton High School, followed by the cutoff race at Dover at 11 a.m. Eastern. So we have a lot of crazy races coming up. Crazy is right. And so far, a lot of... Also, shout out to Matthew Powell here for running 7th. On this restart. Overtime. By the way, we're going to overtime. Shout out to the 83 for staying out of trouble and making it to 7th right now. But the question is, will he stay? So it's a Stewart-Haas top 5 with Hunter Miller in 4th. And it's safe to say it's been the theme so far tonight has been Stewart-Haas. Or today, as we're getting close to the lunch hour, or 1 o'clock Eastern, fans are going to be on their feet for 2 laps. The rules are if the leader makes it to the start-finish line and gets the white flag, the race is over, whether it be caution or checker, or if NASCAR deems the car can drive away. Cannot drive away. So it's going to be kind of up to the safety officials. So, overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Green flag into the air. Seems like a team restart. Here comes Matthew Powell trying to go low. 3 wide, 3 wide. 3 wide. Boy, Lean Match has forced his way up to get a couple spots. Looks like there may be some smoke here off to 41. Everybody in a tight-knit group. Blake Dillon throws a huge block on the 18. We got teammates fighting for the win. And Hunter Miller's up in the mix. Oh, we got a car spinning. It's Matthew Powell. Hold the brakes. We stay green. KFC Cup Series takes the lead. Now he's got Hunter Miller making the crossover. White flag at Indy. Everyone on their feet going into turn 1. Matthew Powell has driven away from the scene. Taking his car to pit road. We're going to be green to the finish. KFC Cup Series, if I'm for him, I'd really be leaning on that 4, but this might be Hunter's day. Every kid, when they get into racing, they dream of racing at the Brickyard. Some are lucky enough to even walk the hallowed grounds of this great facility. Few are lucky enough to say they've won. Today, Hunter Miller is one of those few. Miller wins it at the Brickyard. Brickyard, baby. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I love you guys. Yeah. And things getting a little tight. Yo. They were almost 4 wide right there for 4th. But I think Joshua Leanbatch got it. Awesome job, bud. Awesome freaking job. And, this could be a little interesting. We got one car getting turned. A little bit of post-race fireworks. And here comes Blake Dillon. And out of all this, believe it or not, Jacob Tube makes his way up to finish 10th after getting an early accident, getting damage that many people would say, oh, he's done. He gets right back in it and wins it. And finishes 10th. Teammate Hunter Miller getting ready to kiss the bricks. And I'd watch the 10 to 18 here. Blake Dillon is trying to run down Joshua Leanbatch. And he's being smart. Meanwhile, the 24 is on the front stretch. Here we go. Sunoco continuing to fuel victories. And this, I would have to say, would probably be the biggest victory of Hunter Miller's life. And, Blake Dillon's trying to go after Joshua Lean match on pit road. Whoa. They're going at it. Lean Batch trying to get some shots in. Currently getting pinned back on pit lane. Well then. And it looks like Blake Dillon wants some more. He's still fired up. Look at this. Well, they always say the biggest events, the biggest prizes always bring out probably the best emotion in their athletes. Tempers flying high here at Indy. Hunter Miller is probably the happiest kid. Look at he's doing snow angels on the yard of bricks. Go ahead, kid. You've earned it. That is a huge win for Hunter Miller's career. We'll get interviews from the parties involved in the Blake Dillon Joshua Lean Batch fight. Here in a, I understand Bill Weber's down there with Blake Dillon as they're walking back. Now, Blake, I understand things were getting a little heated there on the last restart and the cooldown lap. Can you take us through what happened? I didn't realize this was the Joshua Lean Batch show. I didn't realize I had to hold my spot and move over from like on the highway. I thought we were racing for a damn win. Oh yeah, the Smithfield Ford was excellent today. Just dominant up front. Loved running with my teammates for a change. And honestly, I thought we were about to go win for a win. Congratulations to Hunter Miller there. Now, the incident in question, I was just covering my line and holding my spot, right? I was doing my job as a racer. I mean, it's the Brickyard 400. No one's going to pull over. I'm not going to pull over like on a highway when I'm getting pulled over by a cop. I'm going to hold my line, and if Blake Dillon Joshua Lean Batch wants to bitch about it, then we'll settle it. Lean Batch has declined to comment at this time.